Clement Pepe, a success coach. And today we're talking about asking the right questions, or when you have a goal, not ask how, but ask why. And I'm going to put into this segment about what that means and how to go about being more effective in doing that, and what the purposes are about the questions we ask ourselves. But as always, I'm going to ask you a question or a request that, as I always ask when we're together, is really, again, not listening from I agree or I disagree, because we got a lot of what I call precepts that we bring to the present moment. Precept is basically things that we've made up, things that are true for us, things that are not true for us, things that we have brought to the moment, if you will. And some of those cause our opinion, some of those cause our being willing to be in a situation where we could say, yes, I agree, no, I don't agree, but it really slows down the process of really opening up ourselves to what's possible. And so, as always, I want to ask you to listen not from I agree or I disagree today, but listen from a place called possibility, meaning what's possible out of what I'm hearing here toward what's important to me, what those goals are that you have out there. And then go out and try this stuff on, see if it fits, work for a while, if you will. If it doesn't fit, bring it back. I'll take it back. No questions asked. If it does fit, you keep it. It's yours for the rest of your life. All right, so listen from that place of possibility, go out, try it on, see if it fits, work for a while. Now, one of the things that we want to look at, and you've probably heard this before, is how important are the questions that we ask ourselves. And not only asking it out loud, but asking it in our mind. The one that may be going, why is he doing that with his fingers right now? We speak to ourselves constantly on an ongoing basis. And those questions, we really want to ask ourselves, are they the right questions, or are they the wrong questions? Now, I want to clarify something about right and wrong, by the way. A lot of times, as we were growing up, we were kind of told or made think that we were wrong or we were right. If we did something that was considered wrong, we were wrong. If we did something we considered right, we were right. But, I want to use the definitions of right and wrong, not in relationship to how we're taking it on, that we're right or we're wrong. When we take a situation and ask, am I asking the right questions? The right is basically meaning, is it moving me towards where I want to go? Is it making it easier for me to get to where I want to go? And so when we talk about right, we're really talking about outside of us. Is it working for me? Just like if I'm asking the wrong questions. Wrong meaning not I'm wrong, but wrong meaning these questions are wrong. They are moving me away from where I want to go, perhaps, or slowing me down from where I want to go, or making it much harder for me to get to where I want to go. And that's what we mean by wrong. So it's not you who are wrong. It's wrong of what we're asking those questions of. And that's very important, because a lot of us are beating ourselves up much too much. And when I say beating ourselves up, it's making ourselves wrong, making ourselves bad, making ourselves feel guilty, making ourselves feel that there's something wrong with us, etc. And there's not. It really is not. It's that we ask right questions or we ask wrong questions. Right being outside of us, wrong being outside of us. Very important distinction that we need to keep in our minds and keep practicing as we go forward. The idea of all of these videos that I'm doing here is really to give you more tools that I've been able to discover, find out about, create, generate over the last 28 and a half years as a coach. And what I find is that we're all the same. We're not different. We're unique, but there's a commonality about human beings. And so when we understand that commonality and we understand how to get more out of ourselves, it's going to get this life to be much more enjoyable for us. It's going to get our goals to be much more attainable for us. It's going to be getting us to do more of what it is we say we want out there. And that's what I mean by right and wrong. And so I think it's very important to have that distinction in regards to that question and whatnot. And so, one of the things that when we are talking about a goal, and a goal is basically, again, for our purposes, a goal is something that we want to be, we want to do, or we want to have. That's a stretch, yet it's attainable. Again, that's what we're going to use as that definition of a goal. Something you want to be, you want to do, or you want to have. That's a stretch, yet it's attainable. So when we create goals, and we should, because we are goal-oriented beings, we thrive on goals. And so, and by the way, when you reach a goal, set a new goal. It's always about where it is you're going. So, but when we set a goal, or when we're in the process of thinking about even setting a goal, a lot of times the question comes up to us is, well, I don't know how I'm going to do that, or how am I possibly going to do that? How am I possibly going to start that new business? How am I possibly going to create that relationship? Or how am I possibly going to get into the shape I want to get? Or whatever that goal means. How would I get back to school? And how, and we've talked about this before, how is absolutely non-important in relationship to your goal. In fact, that how question a lot of times brings up doubt in our minds about the goal. And if we've got doubt about a goal, then we're going to have problems reaching that goal. And the universe, basically everything outside of us, is going to not participate in our creating the goal, because that doubt is counterproductive to our reaching our goal. And so we're fighting against the universe, if you will, that it would be able to help us get our goal if we had another question that we could ask for much more important aspects. So when you create a goal, don't worry about the how. The how will show up for you. You'll know what to do as you keep going. And as you keep going, you'll know more and more. It's almost like turning your headlights on at night. Your headlights basically show you about, I don't know what, 200 feet, 300 feet, I'm not sure of what headlights show us, but it's not that far in front of us. But if we just stay there because we don't know what's going on after that 300 feet, we're not going to get anywhere. We're going to stop ourselves. So the key is we've got to start moving that vehicle. And as we move the vehicle, the lights are going to shine on to a further distance. And then as we go that distance, the light's going to shine on to a further distance, etc. And then we're going to get to our destination that may be 500 miles away or so. Yet we had to take that first step to get past that 300 feet that we couldn't see, etc. It's no different with a goal. You create a goal, don't worry about how you're going to get there. Just commit to the goal, and then you'll know what action step to take. And then based on that action step, you'll know what next action step to take, etc., etc. So that how, we got to keep out of the equation. So that question, when you're setting a goal, or in the middle of your goal, or attaining your goal, or thinking about attaining your goal, that question how has to be out of the equation. And instead of a how question, we want to ask basically why. Why do I want to create this goal? Why is it that I'm doing what I'm doing? Why is it that these things are going to happen for me? And then when the why comes out, we need a big why. You've probably heard that before in life, in sales, and anything that you're in. We always need a big why. And so we need a big why. Let's say, why am I calling these prospects? Well, I want to make a difference in their lives. I want to be able to help them grow in what they're up to. I want to share what I have to create for them, etc., etc. So those whys are a much more empowering place to operate in, rather than the hows. The hows will keep you stuck, really, because if you don't know how to do it, then you're going to stop yourself, and you're going to, again, be doubting, even if you do commit to the goal, even if you're taking some action. But when you're coming from the whys of life, then those things are going to drive you forward. And again, the cool part about all of what we create in our conversations are the things that we need to move us forward. And so those why answers need to be things that move us and empower us to take more action, to create more results in what we're up to in our goals. We have to be very careful. I said that we're speaking to ourselves a lot. We talk to ourselves, they say, somewhere between 300 to 800 words per minute every waking hour. So that's a lot of conversations and a lot of questions that we could be asking ourselves. But we've got to start looking at those questions from the standpoint, are they moving us toward where we want to go, or are they moving us away from where we want to go? And some of the things that we tell ourselves, it's interesting. I've got clients that have had clients for many years now, and there's a question, or there's a statement that I hear people make, not only clients but people, is that they're telling me something about making calls, and I called him, and of course I didn't hear back from him, and of course they didn't call back, or something like that. And when we're declaring, of course, and I just want to use that as an example, when we're declaring an of course, then the universe, again, the universe is, law of attraction is always in place. It's always taking place. So law of attraction is basically giving us what our vibration is, basically. And so if we're vibrating at, of course, they didn't call, of course, they didn't get back to me, of course, they didn't sign when they said they were going to, etc. If we've got that of course going on for us, we're going to create the universe thinking that we don't want these things because we got so much more energy on. Of course, they don't do that. And so, and by the way, it doesn't, unfortunately, it doesn't give, the of courses of life don't seem to be of a positive nature for us when we're making these stories up. They seem to be more of a negative nature. We don't say, well, of course he called me back. And of course, when he called me back, he gave me 3 more referrals because that's what they do. Of course he did that. Or of course he gave me a check and then he gave me a tip with it. Of course he did. We don't do that. We don't go to the courses of life in a positive, unfortunately. We could and we should, but we don't. Mostly it's on a negative vein. Of course they didn't call back. Of course I didn't get the money. Of course I didn't make that sale. Or of course I didn't do that. Or I don't have that, etc., etc. And so, again, this is a very small piece of what I'm talking about, but I want to make a point that whatever we're telling ourselves and whatever questions we're asking ourselves, we're now either moving forward because of those questions or moving backward because of those questions. And by the way, when we talk about whys, we're talking about positive whys, because there's some times when we're asking questions of why, and yet, and we're not even noticing it sometimes. They're all this conversation that goes on within us. But if something happens, oh, why does this always have to happen to me? Or why can't I get ahead in life? Or why can't I have the relationship I want? Or why can't I get the money I want? Or why can't I this? Or why can't I that? Again, the universe doesn't know what you're asking, if it's positive for you or negative. It's just going to keep giving you more. And so if you're asking, why can't I get ahead? Why can't I have this? Why can't I have that? Then you're going to keep attracting that, not getting ahead, not getting it. So those questions, you have to be very cautious. And even the thoughts. Now, thoughts are powerful. Now, when you speak them out loud, they're much more powerful, but thoughts are powerful too. These are going to create feelings. Those feelings are going to create an emotion. Those emotions are going to create a vibration. Those vibrations are going to attract similar vibrations from the universe. It's the way we work. So our job, human being, all of us, this is all of us. And by the way, This doesn't mean that I've been doing this work on me for a lot of years. There's still questions sometimes that come up that are not working for me. And I have to focus on shifting them. And I have to focus on shifting them. So we've got to really work that muscle called the questions we ask ourselves. And yet, one of the ways that we'll know if it's effective for us or not is, again, is how we feel. If we're asking a question, how am I going to make this happen? How am I going to make that happen? And it's bringing us down in our feelings, then we know that question is not a question that's going to support us in creating what we want. We have to ask a new question. All right. Why do I want to do this? I want to make the difference. Why do I want to create that? I want to have the lifestyle I want to have, et cetera, et cetera. So we need to create. Now I'm feeling better about the answers to those questions, which means those are the questions I should be asking. And that's how we can always check in to see what's working for us is not working for us, how we feel. Pretty simple gauge, and we've talked about this, and we'll continue talking about it because it's so important. So, in conclusion, really, it's the questions we ask, no hows, more whys, and the questions that we ask that enhance our mood as opposed to bring us down are the direction we need to go in our questioning. And we're questioning ourselves all day long. As long as we're awake, we're doing that. And when we start waking up in the morning, first thing, we're doing it again. So we want to make sure getting out of bed in the morning, we're asking a lot more powerful questions about, well, how is it going to come for me, these miracles today? How am I going to create and generate? Or why do I want to do this? Or what's going to happen when I do that? And how lucky I am to have this happening. And, I feel so fortunate that I get to have this opportunity. Or whatever is going on, to create those meanings right in the first thing as soon as we wake up. It's kind of like doing mental gymnastics, if you will. All right, so we need to practice it. As always, we need to keep practicing these tools in order to master them. And that's what we're looking to do, is master the tools that are going to help us be more of who we really were created to be, and to practice that on a consistent basis. Now, again, I want to go back to a little bit about the power technology program that we've been doing over the last 28 and a half years. Again, as a coach, I've been able to assist my clients in really helping them to get below what may stop them from having the kind of results they want in their lives, and then teaching them tools and techniques and practices and principles on how to make more out of what is already within them. We don't have to go get the power that we're looking for. It's already within us. And then I coach them in those areas, making sure their actions are consistent with what they say they want. And my clients have created extraordinary results over the years. And I offer free consultation and self-analysis where a person could find out a little bit more about who they are and what they're doing, what's working, what's not working. And if you're interested in that, I've got the website up on the description of this video. It's powertechnology.org. And then also, too, as I mentioned, I've been coaching in about 28 and a half years, and I've created a coaching academy to teach these tools, the program that I put together back in the middle 1980s, and to then certify coaches so that they can go out and make this kind of difference with people out there in the world. And so the coaches are doing really, really well because it's a program. It's a set program that we do so that it's not some just coaching. What'd you do? Why didn't you do it? Go do it. It's more of processes. And so if you're interested in you thought about maybe one day being a life coach or a success coach or business coach, then get in touch with ptcoachingacademy.com. That's up on the description also. And it'll tell you a little bit more about it. Or if you wanted to see about even making more money or making a difference out there in the world through the work that I've been doing over the years, then I teach it personally. So if that's of interest to you, get in touch with me and then we could have a conversation about it. It's a great way to make a living. You can do it anywhere in the world, and you can do it from anywhere that you want, in your home, your business, your office, wherever you decide, because it's all done usually through these types of medium. And so now, again, speaking of these types of medium, if you see some value in this this video we just did, then go ahead and put a like to it. Or if you want to make a comment, or you see something for yourself, or you see someone else that may be something other topics or subjects you'd like me to go into, go ahead and put that in the comments extra. And then if you do see others that you would like to have share this with, then go ahead and hit the share button, and then you can go ahead and put it out to your feed too. And if you can leave it up on your feed for a day or 2 days if you're feeling generous, then it helps, again, to get this out into the world. The more people that see this may take just one little subject, and it may change their lives tremendously. And that's what I'm about, to change people's lives tremendously. So any of those things you could do would really be helpful for us also. And so in conclusion, though, I'd like to say again, reiterate really, that watch what you're asking yourself. Always ask the questions that empower you, that move you forward, that bring you up. And if you're asking another question, change the question. You're making up the questions anyhow. So make them up so that they bring you up. And when you do, you're going to be operating much more in your power. You're going to be taking more action toward your goal. You're going to be excited about those actions you're taking. You take more action, you create more results. You take less action, you create less results. It's the law of the universe. And so these questions you ask of yourself, you need to ask them so they move you forward. All right. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. I always love to be able to share all of what I've known or have found out in the years, and I'll continue doing that. In the meantime, though, until we get together next time, make sure you love the life you live and live the life you love.